Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, Peter. Here we are. Another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. You ready?
Surely.
I have to tell you that today's show is going to be for me kind of like a heart transplant. I poured my heart into this one. And I hope it comes out okay, because I got to tell you, sometimes the conversation in Bill's head isn't always so clear and defined.
Sometimes it shouldn't come out, Bill.
Yeah, this is true. You've been there when that happened, huh?
And I can't tell half the time till it's halfway in. Too late to get off.
You can't stop me.
Too late to get off the boat. It already sailed.
So basically, you're telling me when I say open mouth, insert foot, I'm already done.
I'm already done, and I can't get out the door. Emma's in the way. The stairs.
Episode number 181. How to beat the bad news blues in real estate.
Da, 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 da.
We should be wearing the sunglasses today.
Well, I got them
and
somewhere.
Black suits.
Okay. I'll bring let me know next time I'll bring the guitar. I'll fill them with riffs in between.
There you go. Here we go. Getting bad news with your real estate deals can be dangerous to your career. But you can beat the bad news blues by following these tips outlined in this exclusive podcast. Much of your deals will fall upon the ears of not so motivated sellers that quite frankly can be rude, obnoxious, and downright threatening to your dreams and your ego.
Occasionally.
And once this stress starts, it's like a house of cards for most investors, which results in changing successful actions that once brought confidence and affluence in the investor's surroundings, which now leaves the investor feeling helplessness and often hopelessness. That deals we talk about on this podcast all the time, and so many others talk about, can't be done. That was a mouthful, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the right antidote for these seemingly ailments, you will soon welcome these no's and ridicule, because you will know how to turn them into profitable deals most investors haven't learned to do. In this episode, we, because you are here, plan to cure this unnecessary disease with every investor. Wow. Guess I was in a mood when I wrote that, huh? And
was that before or after Christmas?
That was before Christmas.
Did Christmas help at all?
I was listening to Christmas music. Thank you.
Well, you know what you're saying. Basically, what I'm getting just from that is, if you can solve problems, you make more money. If there's problems that you can't do this, you can't do that, nobody thinks can be done, and you solve that, you're good. If you can build a bridge or nobody can build a bridge, that's good. I mean, anything.
This is not written down here, but you just provoked me to say something.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
At the end of the day, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a busboy in a restaurant, which is not a demeaning thing because we have to have that. I don't care if
it's a starting point.
I don't care if you're hanging coats in a coat rack, if you're sweeping, or if you're building an Empire State Building. At the end of the day, if you don't have confront and able to have some persuasion skills, you will never be happy.
Mm.
It could be as simple as, sweetheart, I want steak tonight. And she says, no, I want pasta. Persuasion begun.
Yep.
How much intention do you actually have to have that steak? Are you willing to give up, or I don't even know the words. Are you willing to tenaciously get it? Mm. What are you willing to sacrifice along the way to have that steak? Right? Like maybe it's as simple as, well, if we have steak tonight, I'll take you to Macy's and let you spend $300 on Sunday. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a give and take world.
Yeah.
And real estate is no different. And the students that do well actually do better with this. Except lately, I have, not we, because I've done it, I have, by going out there looking for other things and trying to solve problems in my own mind, for my own staff and for my own coaching clients, have realized that there is a whole nother way to do this. That you don't have to be that salesperson.
Yeah, that's good
persuasive personality.
That's good because a lot of people
don't like that.
Well, they can't even do it. I mean, they don't like it so much to confront us so bad. But if you, just as an aside, which apparently we don't need anymore, but just for the listener to get the point, think of anything that you really pulled off. Go scan back. You pulled off a couple of good ones all over the time.
Yep.
Didn't you have a decision in your head like you're going to do this no matter what?
And it got uncomfortable.
It could be, yeah.
And if you have that decision so burned in stone or chipped away in stone that you're not going to turn back, that's when it happens. So when it gets uncomfortable, you keep going. Yep. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Having played some very intensive card games at the smoke shop, mostly poker and Setback. Setback is my favorite card game. There's other names for it. I don't even know what they are, but Setback is what we call it.
Yeah.
I've come to learn one of the most valuable lessons in life. It's called a tell.
Oh, yeah.
A tell simply means a player's behavior or demeanor that gives clues to the player's assessment of his cards that he's holding currently. I'm trying to read it and give it my own words, so I'm going to do it again, okay?
Go ahead.
So a tell simply means a player's behavior or demeanor that gives clues to the player's assessment of the cards they hold in their hand currently.
That's pretty fancy words there, Mr. Hawthorne.
Some of it's from the dictionary, some of it I did. Okay? And if you can quickly observe and understand the meaning of the other player's tell, particularly if the tell is unconscious from the player, from the other player, and consistent or reliable, then I have an advantage. But you have to get this right, because too often the tell could be fake, hoping to misdirect other opponents from finding out what is really going on.
You mean like my wife? I mean, just
lay
cards.
down on the couch, Pete. Let's talk.
No, we're just talking cards now. We're just talking. No, we talked this morning. The laundry, everything about turn. She folded mine. I put hers down. Everything's fine. We straightened that out last night. Well, oh, you missed that. Never mind.
On Christmas, you're talking about laundry
Yeah.
and the rules of the house.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, no, you play cards with her. She goes, damn it. These cards suck. Oh, crap. She gets a card. Oh, good. That's even better. Poker. Just like that. You go, son of a what? That's how she plays. Boom, you're done.
So you're talking about, but you have to get this right, because too often the tell could be fake, hoping to misdirect other opponents from finding out what is really going on.
Hence my example. Yeah, that was it.
Thus, the opponent makes a poor judgment in response to the false tell.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah. Is he kidding me? Is that real? What's going on over there? What should I say?
Right.
Should I fold?
More often, people will give the famous poker face.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Which simply means not giving a tell, regardless of how strong or weak their hand is currently.
And what do you recommend?
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
What do I recommend?
Yeah. Poker.
Well,
fake them out.
First of all, I think I'm going to back up because I want to read this again because I want to take this in a different light. So we're talking about a card game, right? This is my epiphany or aha moment from playing cards with my buddies at the smoke shop because a couple of them are pretty good. My buddy Steve,
Yeah.
I think he counts cards.
Really?
Tabucky Jones,
Yeah.
he's a total faker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just like he's playing football. He's trying to fake you out so he get the ball over the line. He only cares about one thing, Tabucky Jones. There's only one thing that matters to Tabucky Jones.
Yes.
Get the ball over the line.
Sure.
And I've never seen a man so tenacious and so on purpose. And even though he hasn't played in a few years, he played for 10 years, won a Super Bowl, and all he cares about is getting that ball over the line. And he's got his job on that field.
Yeah.
And that's it. So these guys, I'm telling you, this is not a light, and we haven't played in about a month, but this is not a light poker game. And I'm not talking about like lots of money, although sometimes that happens because technically we can't use money in the smoke shop. That's one of the rules.
Yeah.
But we can pay outside the smoke shop with our chips.
Oh, okay.
Or we can pay one another off with some pretty damn expensive cigars.
Sure.
Because there are cigars that are $50 and $100 in the smoke shop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you start buying a couple of those for people, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're playing for money, okay? Yeah. Here we go. A tell simply means a player's behavior or demeanor gives clues to the player's assessment of the cards they hold in their hands currently. So is that any different than a seller? Do they or do they not give clues on what they really want to have happen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you can quickly observe and understand the meaning of the other player's tell, particularly if the tell is unconscious and consistent or reliable, then I have an advantage. Is that not true when I sit in somebody's house?
Mm-hmm.
I look at their tells and I observe what's going on and I hear their stories. And when they start repeating things or they start doing, certain things come up, like they bring up their ex-husband and they start twitching, right? Or
I don't want him to get a dime of this house.
They keep talking about how messy the house is or how they didn't do those repairs. I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about, right?
Yeah.
Moving on. But you have to get this right because too often the tell could be fake, hoping to misdirect other opponents from finding out what is really going on. And this I've learned from my coaching clients because I don't have that happen too much because when I recognize it, I pull on it. And I make sure when I leave. But many coaching clients will tell me what a great interview they had or a great presentation they have. And then they come home and they get ghosted, which is the kids' way of saying that they disappear. Mm-hmm. Right? So you send them texts, you send them emails, you send them voicemails, and they just don't return any of them. That's being ghosted, right?
Sure.
So.
Big pretense, wasn't it?
Yeah. So why would I claim this to be a monumental point in my real estate career? All the rules of a tell happen in every deal I do. Yeah.
There's rules.
I just read them to you.
Oh, those. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Let me explain. The most important part of my career has been observing the seller's response to my questions. I'm going to read that again.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I'm talking like you and I are sitting in the room with no microphone and having all these listeners listening to us. Because this is no different than a conversation you and I would have in my office with the door shut.
Sure.
And this is no hype. This is just me being me. Okay. I'm being vulnerable right now. And I'm sure that there will be some repercussions for that because when I'm vulnerable, I get harassed sometimes. But whatever. F them. That's what I say.
Ignore them.
Why would I claim this to be a monumental point in my career of real estate? All the rules of the tell happen in every deal I do, which I just read to you. Let me explain. The most important part, now you know me with words. I don't use them sloppily. I don't use them without knowing the meanings of them. I usually mean what I say.
No, if if it's important, the thing is we have to. The reason you do that is because we don't get it sometimes when you say something, because we don't have the experience to realize which things are or are not important. So you tell us.
So I try to give senior datum so you can use those senior pieces of information to put the pieces of the puzzle together, right? I mean, when you put a puzzle together, I watch my wife build these 50, 100-piece puzzles. Yeah. You know what she does? She tries to get the corners first.
Sure.
Those are the senior datums. Those are like going to hold the whole puzzle together.
Sure.
Right? So the most important part of my career has been observing the seller's responses to my questions. So I've given these questions to you guys.
Yeah.
You think after doing thousands and thousands of offers, if I keep testing these questions and I get a question that practically gets the same exact answer every time, that's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, one of those questions is, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today?
Yeah.
But yet, I don't know. I go speechless.
Well,
I can't tell you how many coaching clients, they'll be on the phone and they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. Tell me everything, word for word what they said. They're reiterating the whole conversation to me. And I get all done after their 15-minute dissertation. And I say to them, did you ask them the question? And the phone goes blank.
Duh.
First of all, they go, what question?
The question.
Did you ask
the
them,
question.
Did you ask them what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? And they go, oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why we're the students.
I'm a student too. And just like to tell, observing and understanding the meaning of the seller's behavior and demeanor can give me exact direction on how to proceed to the next step in real estate. So it's like I throw this question out there and then I observe the answer. I observe their demeanor and their behavior. Do they get uncomfortable? I hope so, because that means I've just invaded their privacy. And until I invade that privacy, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to help them.
So is their answer, or let me say, is their reaction more important than their actual answer?
Well, here's the thing. It depends. It's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. If their reaction and their answer match, you might have something.
Okay.
If their reaction and their answers don't match, like I talk about contrary facts.
Yeah.
Like they get uncomfortable and they start like fiddling in their chair, but they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm cool. I'm cool. Like I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
What would happen if I don't buy your house today?
Oh, I'll just put it on the market. Uncomfortable, twitch,
Exactly.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what they're saying, so there's more. So there's more going on then. I mean, if things match, you figure, okay, that's it. That's the end. If there's things happening, you figure there's more to the story. Dig.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I asked my wife yesterday, and I was surprised to get the answer I got from her. And I would probably say I'll be surprised at your answer too. So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay. You want a real answer?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So what does it mean to perceive something? What's the definition of perceiving?
Well.
Perception.
Yeah. Well, there's something happening in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're trying to take in what that is. And it could be sight, sound, smell. You're trying to take in what it is. So you've copied in your head what's happening in front of you.
Good, Peter. Very well done.
You like that one?
So my definition of perception, which I looked it up in several dictionaries to make sure I get it, it's observation through the senses. So it's not communication per se. That is one way to do it. But you could perceive something because somebody's negative energy. You can feel it, but you can't see it or hear it or taste it.
No, but people sense that stuff. They know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have read in the past that there are many perceptions other than the 5 or 6 that we're aware of.
Yeah.
There's like, the body has like 50 something of them.
Sure.
Right.
Temperature.
If you read L. Ron Hubbard's book on Dianetics, he talks about having 52 perceptics. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that or even believe that, but it's a viewpoint.
Yeah.
In other words, wow, there's more than 5. That's the point.
Yeah, it's as simple as if you remember something from like your vacation or a a party or something, you're gonna like everything from like, was I hungry?
Well, you've walked into rooms and you're like, oh, what did I just walk into?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've walked out of rooms thinking, oh, they still have attention on me.
Yeah.
You've been in a car and texting while you're at a traffic light and realized that somebody's paying attention to you and you look up.
Yeah, I noticed that like you're sitting in a classroom and you turn around and there's somebody in back of you looking at you.
Right.
How did you know? You weren't even looking at them. So you can feel something.
So that's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about perception. So perception is observation through the senses, usually for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you can educate yourself through perception.
Mm-hmm.
Observation is a way to study.
Yeah.
Right? Study isn't just just learning and assimilating
Books.
words. Assimilating means making words your own.
Yeah.
But you can study something. The reason why books are so beautiful in today's society is because if everything you had to learn, you had to observe yourself, it would take too long.
It would make it.
So what you do when you read books, the reason why I read so many books is because I want to have other people's experience of their observation and what they found, so I don't have to go observe it. I can just take their footnotes and go test it and say, oh, that worked for me too.
Yeah, they spent 3, 4, 5, 10 years coming up with some conclusions. You can read about it in a few hours. That's powerful.
And that's correct. And everything that I teach or everything that I show, I ask my students, don't believe me, go test it yourself and see if it works. But make sure you completely understand it and don't have a misunderstanding or a confusion about it before you condemn it.
All right. But then you still want to take that and whatever's happening in front of you, observe correctly as best you can what's happening in front of you so you know what information applies and what knowledge would actually fit that shoe at that time.
Right.
Because I still am a few years into this business, not like, oh, my family grew up in it. We've been running, decades. I don't have that.
Right.
I had the screwdriver was a butter knife as a kid. So right. I'm coming from down the field a little bit. So I have to rely on whatever I can learn quickly from you and the books you recommend and give me for Christmas.
Right.
And I do a lot of observation because if I don't know something, I just look the hell out of it and see if I can wing something, ask a few questions, go back and get something painted.
Right.
Or just fix something best I can, ask you. But I have to do a lot of observation with my eyeballs and try to be smart about stuff just to catch up.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So
we
we're
marry
way
those
off script
two.
at this point, but it's very dangerous for someone like you because you trust your observation more than you trust anybody else. So what will happen is you'll ask somebody like me a question. I'll give you an answer. You'll not understand it. Not know you don't understand it. And you'll ask the question a different way again because you think I didn't understand you. Or you'll not agree with me and think you have a better way when you really didn't understand my answer. Right? And every time you ask me, I'll say, well, here's what happened. And I'm not saying that I'm right and that I'm all good, God Almighty, but I have done a lot of deals. So at least listen to my story and at least put it on your radar that it could happen that way. Because usually my stories they're not a one-off. Usually my stories are like it's happened multiple times. I just remember this one time that it happened.
Yeah.
They stick in my mind because they happen multiple times. There is no trick to real estate. I mean, the process is the same no matter what. When you understand the core process of how it works, then everything else just kind of plugs in, plugs out. It's kind of like in the old days ordering a car. nowadays cars come loaded, but back when I was a kid, you ordered a car and they asked you, do you want a radio?
Uh-huh.
Do you want an AM, FM, or cassette, or all three?
Yeah.
Do you want air conditioning? Nowadays, millennials don't even know you can have a car without air conditioning. Do you want power windows?
Yeah.
So this is,
I saw a movie the other day, ladies rolling down the window. Wow,
Yeah.
rolling down a window.
I remember a day when I was really young where cars didn't have seatbelts.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm 56.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so to me, this is what it's like when you're doing a deal. Okay, so I know I'm buying a car. Do I want power windows? Do I want an AM, FM radio? Do I want air conditioning? What are the things I want in the deal? The luxuries, as I call them, in a deal. So the deal is the deal. It's the math and what the person's willing to do. But it's all these accessories that I put on the deal that seem like it dazzles you guys in my deal structuring, which I still don't understand because it's just math. And then what I do is I kind of adapt it to my personality. Like, I got a coaching client right now in Pennsylvania, and you know what he's excited about and it's one of his first deals, right? And you would think that he'd be really excited about this deal, which he is.
Yeah.
But he's more excited because he found a motorcycle in the garage that he can give to his wife and his kid or something. And he's more excited about this damn, $700 or $800 or $600 motorcycle than he is the actual deal. Right? But that's what happens. So he listens to these podcasts. He knows who he is.
Yeah.
Right? He's probably listening right now. Right? And he's like, I listened to your podcast, Bill, and you said just flap your lips, which I learned from Ron LeGrand.
Yeah.
So I flap my lips. And he's getting the motorcycle, and he's excited.
It's like getting shots with your ice cream.
Exactly.
Sprinkles.
Exactly.
Not only get the ice cream, you get sprinkles. They weren't expecting the sprinkles.
Okay,
Yay!
so the tell is observing and understanding the meaning. Once you understand what the tells are, observing and understand the meaning of the seller's behavior and demeanor can give you exact direction on how to proceed to the next deal. So
The next deal, the next step.
the next step in the deal. The next step in the deal. So my coaching is not magic, but it's magical. And the reason why is because it's not like I have some trick or where I reach my hand in a cap and I pull out a bunny rabbit. Okay. I don't have a magic trick, but it is magical. And the reason why it is magical is because I am persistent on, let's do the next step. And the next step could mean a lot of things, right? Like, for example, I could say something to you, a sentence, and it could go into you or into your mind, and it could be like an atom bomb and blow up, and you completely go into a complete fit, yell and scream and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Or I can have that same question go into Emma's mind, and she'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I never heard of that. How can we do that?
Same question.
Same question, right? So the next step is important because how are you going to react to it? Okay, I'm going to keep moving on. I'm not going to talk about this anymore right now, but we're going to come back to this because I'm going to explain something to you that is going to make this really easy. But what I want to talk about right now is the next step. Okay. So the next step is the most important thing you have to observe, or the most important sign that you have to get is, and it's the biggest one, is are they in or are they out on what you're proposing, right? So this is important to vet out right away. The sooner you can vet this out or get this in the air, the better off you are going to be. Okay?
Sure.
Otherwise, you'll follow a fake tell, right? And leave thinking you have a deal. Get it?
Does it work the other way too, where they're saying no, but there's still an open window?
Yes. We call those deliberators. I'm not talking about those right now.
Okay.
But yes, you can. We're going to come back to that too.
Okay.
Right? Only... So you leave, so you get a fake tell, you think you got a deal, you leave the property or leave the meeting or leave the presentation thinking you got a deal only to get ghosted, meaning that they don't return your calls and they don't want to confront you, right? In other words, You read the sellers wrong and got misdirected, right?
Yeah.
So the seller did not have the confront to face you face to face while explaining they didn't like your offer. So some people just have low confronts and they don't like confrontation. And instead of having that confrontation or that, instead of
telling you the truth,
pushing through that uncomfortableness with you, they'll just pretend like, oh yeah, this is a good deal. I like it. I'll call you and let me, and they'll come up with a plausible excuse, which is where we talk about there's only two things that happen in a sales cycle. Either the client sells you or you sell the client. In this particular case, they will come up with plausible reasons. Oh, I got to talk to my mother. Oh, I got to talk to my husband, or I gotta. And then you believe them and you think, oh, all I have to do is handle that one objection, and you leave and they ghost you. And anybody that's done this business has had this happen. So whoever's been in a house a few times,
it's happened with.
Know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, get off your ass and go do a deal. Go talk to someone, because you're pretending like you're being a real estate investor and you're not doing anything. You're not making offers. If you're not making offers, you won't know this.
So when you start explaining that, I was wondering before you did, like, why do people do that? So that's a good answer. I was wondering, is this possible too, where because they're trying to sell the house, they're trying to protect their investment or trying to get more out of the deal and not let you know what they really want? Yeah. Are they playing a game that way? Is that part of it too?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I think that'd be like the obvious when you're in a contest with somebody, but the confront thing makes sense though. They just can't tell you what they're really thinking, because if they did, then you would answer and handle it. That's correct.
Some people have a feeling. Some people have been sold with bad salespeople.
Yeah,
and they've been convinced to buy something that wasn't in their best interest, or they were convinced to do it, but once they got it, realized it wasn't what they thought it was.
Yeah.
So some people are trying to protect themselves from the slick salesman. It's a mechanism they don't even know they have.
Yeah.
Right. So they feel like they're going to get gypped, or they're going to get treated unfairly, or they're going to get the short end of the stick. So sometimes the cover up or the lack of confront is because they feel like if they pour their guts out and tell the truth, they'll be taken advantage of.
Yeah. They'll be pushed into something, and
right.
He made me do it. And no one can ever make you, but some people are pushy. Does it matter what the reason is when you're dealing with them?
Nope.
Does it help in any way?
Nope.
Okay. Good. One more layer we don't have to go into then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you want to go further, you can, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Okay.
So, more important, they pretended to like you.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretenders. I say that to my wife all the time. I have nicknames for people around us, and one of them, I'm not going to name who they are, but I have one family couple.
Yeah.
And I've dubbed them the pretenders. Right? They pretend to like it, pretending they were in, but in actual fact had no intention of ever doing anything with you, and you called the tell wrong. Here's another great example, okay?
Yeah.
They want all cash.
Yeah.
And they think that you're going to give them all cash, which you will. But what they don't realize is your all cash has a deep discount, and their all cash has no closing costs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So are they going to sound like they're all in?
They might, yeah.
So here is the amazing part. Okay? This, as far as I'm concerned, you will never hear anywhere else except in this podcast. I don't know if we'll ever talk about this again. I'm kind of on a whim, to be honest with you. We're in Christmas week, and I'm thinking maybe we won't have a lot of listeners, so I'm going to do this show for me instead of all my listeners. So who knows? Maybe this show will never take off. Maybe it'll never get downloaded, or maybe it'll be this most popular thing ever. I don't care.
Yeah. Sometimes when you wing it and you speak from the heart or whatever you want to say, that could be really potent.
I've never talked about this stuff ever before. Ever. Even to you, I don't think.
Well, that's why I'm asking some questions.
So here's the secret. Okay. Because I mean, we're like down to meat and potatoes right now. Here's the secret that I have hidden in my personal vault. Okay. And some of it is because I don't know I do it. And some of it is because I feel like if I explain it, it's too profound. And it's not flashy enough for a podcast or for a meetup or anything like that, because I don't know if people want to come and listen to this.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to talk about right now is the exact thing that makes deals. That so many people are so enamored about me and what I do that they think that it's other things. And this is exactly what it is. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm listening.
So there's two things. One, I have to figure this out. Now, this is observation. Am I convincing them or trying to convince them to do the deal?
Is that two different things?
No.
Okay. You're trying to convince them.
So am I in convincing mode?
Right.
Two, or are they in the same congregation as me, and they agree with my ideas?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you could be Christian or you could be Jewish. They both have different philosophies. They agree to disagree and agree on certain things. Okay? But they're clearly two different congregations. They're truly, in which, by the way, congregation I'm not using in a religious manner, although I just gave a religious example. Congregation is a group of people.
You congregate. You get together.
Get together, right?
Yeah.
So let's take number one. If you're trying to force even the most tightly close minds to change, it'll be difficult. To sum it up, you have to, if you want someone, right? If you want someone to do as you wish, give them a vision. Doing so lets you all but seize their minds and persuade them to willingly, quickly, and eagerly comply with your offer, and you've succeeded. So you give them a vision.
I'm trying to visualize how you're explaining this. Give them a vision.
Give them a vision. So here's how it works. How many times have you heard me say that?
Oh, that's how you start.
Here's how it works.
Once you get all the information in, and they go, you go, all right, here's how it works. I like
this idea. I'm willing to rent to you. Okay, here's how it works.
Yeah. And
you paint a picture, a vision of how it's going to work and what they're going to get and when.
Yeah.
At that point, I've taken out my radio and put it on the kitchen table between me and the cellar, and I dialed in the most important radio station,
which is
WIIFM. Okay. What's in it for me?
Okay. From their perspective.
Yeah.
From their perspective,
right.
Though. So you get to move out, you get to do this, your bills get paid.
I do not make it complicated. I usually go like 2 or 3 steps ahead of where we are, and I always hammer the benefit. We do these 3 things, and then blah will happen. Well, I'll pay the taxes, or you'll get this off your back, or you won't have to make a payment anymore. Whatever it is that they want.
You get to move, you get to go there.
You don't have to clean the house out. Whatever it is, I'll give the next 2 or 3 steps, but I give them like an overall vision. Now, I've done this so successfully that I actually created the blueprint course that we sell. That's the most popular product we have, which is $97, is the blueprint course, because I've given investors the vision of how the entire business works from start to finish,
Right.
without actually giving all the details in the middle. So I go over, mindset and time management, and then I go over, marketing and how to find lenders and how to talk to them, but not so gory with the details that they lose the vision or the flow of how the business works.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way when you're talking to a seller. You have to give them the vision or give them the 30,000 foot view of what's going to happen. Don't worry about the details. If you get down into the excruciatingly painful details, you'll lose them because they'll start thinking about those details and not the vision of where they're going to end, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah.
Let's talk about an airplane. You're going to go on vacation. You're going to go to the Bahamas, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what's it like prior to going to the Bahamas? You got to pack, right? You got to get up at 3:00 in the morning. You go without breakfast. You go without your morning routine. You don't go to the bathroom like you normally would. You got to go to the, all these things. You got to drink coffee. You got to bring whatever, all these things that you have to do to break your routine.
Yeah.
That are all uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the end result?
On the plane on your way.
At the end of the day, I'm going to be in the Bahamas sitting on the beach drinking whatever.
Yep.
That's how you have to do it. You can't get into the details and start talking about all the gory, like you're going to get up at 3:00 in the morning. Unless, of course, you feel like it's going to stop you when you hit that step. But you have to say, we're going to hit some uncomfortable spots like blah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get you through it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's how you deliver a vision successfully. Ready?
Yes.
Confidence.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be confident that you're going to do it. If you're passionate, and I don't mean confidence like you have a lot of knowledge. I'm talking about that tenaciousness. No matter what, I'm going to get you through this.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, that story that I tell them all the time. I land on the island with all my army.
Yeah.
And I tell them to burn the ships and tell them either one or two things going to happen when we go into this battle. Either I'm going to die by the sword or we're going to win. And when you go in with that attitude, you'll buy houses.
Yeah, winning looks better than dying on a sword.
Right. So figuring out if they're in or out is the gate to the deal. Because when they're in, you pour on the coals with the vision and the confidence of how they're going to get it done.
Mm.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is how you test if they're in or out. Do they see your vision and are they willing to quickly and eagerly get it done? In other words, that when I said to you before, that atomic bomb, like I asked a question, how do you react? So when I give you the vision, how do you react? Oh, I would never do that. Or, oh my God, I never heard of that. Tell me more.
Mm. But this isn't convincing them either.
No.
Because you talked about a little while ago, this isn't convincing. When you say find a motivated seller, it's really find. I mean,
you're gonna
right?
like. We're about halfway through. You're gonna like what I got more. I have more on that.
All right.
To come, okay.
So I'm tracking with you.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's not convincing them. You already talked about that.
Now, if I spend a lot of time convincing that person that my vision is viable and best for them, this is a tell.
If you're spending too much time convincing, but
Who's doing most of the work?
Yeah.
Am I trying to convince them that this vision is best for them?
Mm.
If they don't get it right away, especially after clearing up any confusions,
yeah,
right? Because some people are just confused. They don't get it right away the first time. You have a number one on your hands. You're trying to convince them that it's best for them. Bottom line, you're doing all the work trying to prove to the seller your vision will work and fighting skepticism. Okay? Very hard to do a lot of times unless you have lots of expert training. So I get through this no problem. But I've got a lot of experience. But we're not talking about me. So what's the best way to bring me into your deals? I could be, every listener right now could have me in their deal right now. I could do their deals for them at the kitchen table, sitting next to them. They could do that right now. For nothing. No money involved. All they have to do is go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, free stuff, and download my script. Those are my words. Read them. Even if it's cumbersome and sloppy, just read my words. That's me making your deal for you. How do I know this? When we started texting, I thought that it was the most amazing thing that we were texting. Yeah. I thought it was texting. I was giving the credit to the wrong place. But sooner or later, after several months, I realized what was happening is when I started listening to coaching calls, they would change my words. Yeah. They would take my sentences that have been tested exclusively and extensively, have been tested with thousands of sellers, and they change the connotation of the words, or they change the words, or they put emphasis on certain words they shouldn't put emphasis on. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, well, people do that. They read something and they say it the way they think it should be.
When you take all that out of a text and you use my exact words, all of a sudden my guys started making deals. I'm like, what's going on here? When I realized they've actually taken those tested sentences and give them to the seller and they work the way they work with me.
Because it's easy to change verbal communication, but it's hard to change written because you just look at it and type it.
So it's me actually speaking to their seller, not them. When they use texting and they take my script and they preload the scripts in so you can just push whatever response you want to give. Yep. And there's no thought behind it. It's like you just push one of these.
Yeah, the next answer.
Yeah.
If he says this, you punch that. If he says this, here's the answer.
But it was me talking to their seller, and all of a sudden they started making more deals. I have a coaching client right now that I think I talked about recently that has only been with me a couple weeks, and he went on. It took me an hour and a half to convince. Actually, it didn't take me that long. It took me about 5 minutes to tell him, here's the deal. Either you give me money for coaching right now, or I'm cutting you off from the podcast, from everything else, and you're done. Get out of my group. Because he had been to all other groups where they're spending all this money on doing coaching, and he spent tens of thousands of dollars, and his assistant, he has a private assistant, a personal assistant, sending, she's made over 500 phone calls. Not one deal.
That is bonkers. Absolutely. 500?
I gave him I said to him, you're paying me the money at least for 1 month. I gave him my script, and told her text them to 25 people. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's probably done that. She did that for a week, and I talked to him on Christmas Eve on Tuesday. He's got 7 deals working. They're not closed. Yeah. But he went from not talking to anybody to where he's like overwhelmed. I'm actually coaching him on how to keep track of his leads now.
Yeah, yeah.
Not how, the deal structure, and Christmas came. So it was just, Christmas gets in the middle of it, just stretches the communication out for an extra week.
Sure.
Because people are wrapped up with their families, and rightfully so. You were, everybody else was, right? Mm-hmm. So bottom line, you're doing all the work trying to convince or prove this to the seller that your vision will work for them, and you're fighting skepticism. Very hard to do, right? And honestly, that training does turn some, that special training like what I have, it does turn some, but really there's too many deals out there to do this these days. It is much, much better at first to pass on these suspects, or deliberators as I call them, and find a number 2. Mm-hmm. Really. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute on how we're doing that, right? Mm-hmm. So, number 2, the seller who sees your vision bright and clear and is willing to move quickly and eagerly to do the next step. Now, here's a good tell for number 2. They start asking specific questions about the details, and how it's going to affect their life and their problem that is causing them to sell. So they're going to be skeptical at first because they're thinking it's too good to be true.
Yeah, well, they haven't heard much about the kind of deal structuring that can be done.
Sometimes that's right.
I mean, once a blue moon, the guy goes, "Oh, lease options? Yeah, I know all about that. I did one once. So how much? They start asking you how you would, some details.
Right into the details.
That's not very common, though.
So what happens is they think it's too good to be true. So they start quizzing you, right? And what they are unconsciously doing is measuring if your solution is worth the amount of equity or cash flow that they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So if they're going to give you $20,000 worth of equity, they want to make sure that you're not a salesman giving them a bad sales pitch. Okay? And I promise you, very soon here in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you how to do this flawlessly. And I don't care if you've been in real estate for 1 day or 1 year or 1 decade. I'm going to tell you how to do this flawlessly. Okay?
That's amazing.
Yep. Okay, let's press on. How am I doing so far?
I'm actually listening.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm always like, where's he going to go with this guy? Because I know you and I know what we're doing, but still, like, half the time I'm surprised. The other half, okay, that's where we are. And the other half, like, how'd he get over here with me? But so keep going. I'm listening.
Good. So let's press on.
Yeah.
Here's another shiny tool for your box. Okay? The single best way to get a yes from someone is to get them to tell you no.
Explain that, please.
I gotta tell you,
you're doing double
I don't
talk.
know why, but some podcasts I just get so excited about because it's like as I'm writing it, it just clicks.
Yeah.
And it's like I was in a moment. I was in my office. It was about 90 degrees because I turn the heat up in there sometimes when I'm cold.
Make him believe you're in Florida?
Yeah. And I had my Christmas music on, and I was just letting the juices flow, right? The single best way to get a yes from someone is to try to get them to say no.
Okay, keep talking. I'm listening. What do you mean?
This is from an email I wrote about being a reluctant buyer. Okay, so I'm going to elaborate on that because the email wasn't as profound as it should have been, right? So when you do this correctly, it takes the pressure off and lets down the guard of the number one seller who didn't get your vision. And his wish to influence you drops. So you have a buyer that you're trying to convince. He's trying to influence you to do his deal, right?
Buyer or seller? What?
The seller.
Seller. Okay. He's
So
a buyer. So the seller.
Yeah. So the seller is a number one.
Yeah.
And you're trying to convince him or her that your way is better.
Yeah. You're selling and pitching.
So you're trying to influence him.
Yeah.
The real reason why you haven't gone over this is because he is trying to influence you to get what he wants or she wants.
Sure.
Often, and I talk about this, often they don't care how you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I want $200,000 for my $180,000 property. If you give me that, I'll sell it.
Yeah.
And even if you did want to do that, they don't care about where you're going to get $200,000 because first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to borrow the money, you're going to have to get an appraisal, and you're going to find out that the bank's not going to lend $20,000 over what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't care about that.
Yep.
Right?
Not very flexible.
Here's another one. I'll sell you the house, but the tenant hasn't been paying me for 3 months. So you take the tenant, but not compensate you for it. Right?
Yep.
Here's another one. We just bought a 3-family house, and I just got a text on Christmas Eve from the guy that we bought the house from because we're in deliberation over how much deposit money was given to his property manager.
Right.
So he gave us at the closing $680, and we've learned some lessons from this. So this was a mistake.
Yeah.
When really she gave him $1,680.
Yep. That little number one.
His idea is that she only gave us $680, and he's believing his property manager. Right? Sends me a text back telling me, well, she's going to have to provide checks. And I sent him a text back that says, well, the receipt says she gave cash. And she gave it to a woman, not your property manager. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to say.
Oh, yeah.
Because he spoke to the property manager, and the property manager convinced him.
Cash. Wow.
Okay? So, anyways, off on a tangent there.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just listening because I hadn't heard the story yet.
Well, I'll show you the text.
Yeah.
So, when you do this correctly, what I'm going to show you right now, okay, the pressure is off and lets down the guard of the number one guy, the guy you're trying to convince, who didn't get your vision. When you take away the necessity level or the must-have, or you try to convince him, it takes all that away because you withdraw with, well, you don't have to sell me your property, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You become the reluctant buyer. Okay? It totally demonstrates zero neediness.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is the number one thing that my coaching clients do to blow deals up, is their neediness sneaks through the deal. Because they've spent 10 grand or 3 grand or 5 grand, or they're spending money. Like my one of my guys was talking about paying his assistant $300, and he was thinking about how he keeps putting all this money in deals and he hasn't done a deal. Do you think that the bingo, wham, target hit for me?
Yeah.
Because that's the reason why he's not doing deals. He's got neediness in there, and it leaks through the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Much like
Yep.
air leaks through the air. You know what I mean? So, it totally demonstrates when you become the reluctant buyer, it totally demonstrates zero neediness and creates 100%. It hones in on the communication. It doesn't create. It 100%, it creates and hones in on the communication. And opens the other person's mind to hearing you out and making a decision favorable to your vision. If you do it correctly. The key is to own this principle as a way of life. Not to fake it or use it as a cheap trick. Most people, as I said earlier, hide their true intentions until they feel confident. All an offer is, get this is the most important part of the podcast. All an offer is, as far as data is concerned, all an offer is confidence that you're the right one.
Right.
And you could pull it off. It's not the money. It's not the terms. It's you're going to give them what they want the most. And they're confident that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So an offer's backed by confidence.
Yeah. Just like money is backed by confidence.
That's right.
So that's why I think that's why it's so important, because I know that you've had deals with people that other buyers were in making offers, and they chose you because you felt that you would actually do it.
Right.
And we've heard like, well, I had an offer, sir, but he disappeared. We had an offer, but he didn't follow through. What good is an offer if a person can't follow through?
That's right.
So that confidence that you can actually do it, even you might have a lower offer than somebody else, but I'd rather have a lower offer done than a higher offer not done.
Correct.
So that's important.
It's exactly knowing you're going to finish the game.
Yep. Right. Get the ball over the line, huh?
It's exactly that's the Bucky Jones. Yep. So you need to explode their hidden intentions, their secrets, and agendas, because they have agendas. You need to expose all that, their secrets and their intentions and their agendas, right? You need to do that quickly so you don't get stuck working on deals longer than you should. The faster you could do that, the better off you're going to be. Right? So by giving your seller permission, now pay attention to this. I'm so excited about this. I don't know why. It's just the way I think I worded it.
Mm-hmm.
So by giving your seller, and I'm being arrogant right now. I'm sorry. I'm just confident.
Yeah, but you have things that work that we're all trying to figure what you've got that works so we can squeeze some of it. So maybe we should listen to this.
Thank you.
Maybe.
So by giving your seller permission to say no, it attracts the very, very best and highest quality sellers to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. And this is a script. I did this at the meetup the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I want to give credit to some of this to Joe McCall, because some of this is his, some of it's mine, some of it's his. It's scripts that I've used in the past, but I've never heard anybody else say it. So I mean, they're technically mine. Mm-hmm. But Joe says them as well, so I want to make sure that he gets credit for that. Okay, I don't want to like violate any of that stuff. Okay, so here we go. Once you have all the pertinent information, like the bedrooms, the bathrooms, how much he owes on the mortgage, like house talk. For the longest time, you would ask me, and I had trouble cracking the code. So, okay, I filled out the prospect suspect form. By the way, you can get at the flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff page, right? It's called the prospect suspect form. It has everything you need to buy a house on one piece of paper. Okay? I'm very proud of that. Ron Loran's got one, a couple other guys got one, but we really perfected this a lot. You helped me with it. My students have helped me with it. It's above and beyond all the others.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's thorough.
It's very thorough. And it allows you to get all the information. And to the degree that you don't fill out one of the spaces on that document is to the degree you won't do a deal. Because that means you didn't ask the right questions. Okay. Mm-hmm. But once you get all of that done, all that filled out, all the blanks and spaces filled out on a piece of paper, you would ask me, what do I say then?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And here's what you say. Mm-hmm. When you're all done, here's what you say. I don't get it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're listening to this podcast as a recording, you should write this script down.
This was hysterical.
It's not hysterical like funny. It's like when you hear it, you're going to totally get what I'm talking about. How to become a reluctant buyer.
Yeah. And
what it does to the other person. How it melts away their skepticism and it makes you like a hero instantaneously. Mm. Okay? So here you go. I'm going to read it. I don't get it. It sounds like a really nice house. Why would you want to sell it? And that gives you their situation right away. It's such a perfect question. I don't get it. It sounds like a really nice house. Why would you want to sell it? And then, bam, goes right to the situation. Now, you say this once they give you their blah, 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 right? It sounds like you really want to sell the house quickly. And it looks like a sweet deal. But I'm not sure I can actually help you. Now, how many times have you heard me say that?
The first 5-10 minutes in the house, and I go, what the hell is he talking about? I want to buy this thing. And you go, I'm not your guy. I'm biting my lip. Let's see where this goes.
It sounds like I would start from the beginning. It sounds like you really want to sell the house quickly. And it looks like a sweet deal. But I'm not sure I can actually help you. Only because I don't think you need me.
Come on, that is hysterical.
Why don't you just list it with a realtor?
Is that the third takeaway? That's like the third takeaway already. Just keep taking back.
I've done this with, like, for example, I looked at a house not too long ago, and it's a $100,000 house, and the lady owes like $19,000 for taxes. And wants to sell me the house because of taxes. I told her this: you don't need me. Why don't you just go get an equity line and just pay the taxes off and keep the house? I'll help you get the equity line for nothing. I will get my mortgage guy. We'll get him over here. We'll appraise the house, and I'll get you the money. I won't charge you a dime.
What'd she say?
She said yes. And 5 days later, she changed her mind, and I bought that house for $35,000.
Really?
Yeah, Waterbury.
Just now?
No, not recently.
Oh, it's an older one. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm going to read this again. It sounds like you really want to sell the house quickly, and it looks like a sweet deal. But I'm not sure I can actually help you only because I don't think you need me. Why don't you just list it with a realtor? Bam!
Now they're going to tell you that, too, why they don't want to.
Now here comes the bombshell.
Oh, man.
What are you going to do if you can't sell the house? Are you going to rent it? Bam! Sorry, Emma. Emma just jumped about 10 feet.
She got headphones on.
What did you just do?
You just
walked
walked
yourself into talking about a rent-to-own or a
lease
lease
option.
option.
Yeah. Right. But it's
like waving a magic wand.
But it's such I know this just life-wise. If you push people, they push back or run away.
Yep.
Right? If you kind of pull away, like, a girl
They
dating,
chase you.
You pull away like, no, I don't think I want to take you to the prom. What do you mean you don't want me to take me? Why not? I don't know. Do you know how to dance? Of course I know how to dance. Let me see.
Right.
Okay, I'll take it to the prom. But it's like, I think I counted 3 takeaways with a bombshell at the end.
Yep.
Instead of like, sell me your house, I can do it, instead of being a pest.
And here's the deal.
Oh, man.
Here's the deal. I'm going to explain this quickly, but I have no intention. I'm going to tell you what to do, not how to do it. Because first of all, I don't want to tell you how to do it because I can't do that in a podcast. I have to show you how to do it. Okay. Which is why in January, I'm doing an internship, which I actually have like 2 more spots left. So I'm going to regret saying this on this podcast because by the time people hear it, it may be sold out.
Yeah.
But if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/internship, I'm going to actually teach people how to do this. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to give 3 offers. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what happens. Okay? The 3 offers are going to be a cash deal. They're going to be a rent-to-own or a lease option deal. And they're going to be a slot deal. Okay? Let's say the house is worth $160,000. The guy's asking $160,000.
Okay.
So your cash deal might be, we'll say $105,000.
Yeah.
Your lease option, we'll say, will be $130,000.
Mm-hmm.
And your slot deal will be the $160,000 he's asking.
Yep.
Okay. The trick here is this, and there's a lot of psychology behind this, which I could make a whole show out of, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to briefly mention it and let the listeners figure it out. Okay? Sorry. When I call you up off of Zillow without a real estate agent, and I say, Peter, I'd like to buy your house. What do you think? If you're selling your house for $160,000, how much money do you think you're going to get for that house?
Well, I'm hoping to get the 160.
Or that minus closing costs, which is you're hoping that you'll at least get $150.
Yeah.
Right? Or $150. It's usually
a little negotiating. There's some taxes, blah, blah, blah,
So you're going to think that 5 or 6% is going to go off for all that, and you're going to get the rest.
Yep.
You're going to get the lion's share of that money.
Yep. It's your
That's
house.
what you're thinking.
Been paying for this house for 30 years.
If I call you up and right away say to you, which is a mistake we've been making, which is okay because it's worked, but this works even better.
Yeah.
If I say to you, Pete, I'll give you $160, but instead of giving you the $160 within the next 30 days in a lump sum, I want to pay you monthly until I can get it paid off. If you think you could get $160 from me, where did that conversation go?
Well, getting $160 later is not as good as getting $160 now, so you're not the buyer.
So I just made you a number 1 where I'm trying to convince you that later is better, because now what happens is I have to convince you that the closing costs is going to be 12 to 15%, and you may or may not believe me.
Yeah. Because you already decided it wasn't going to be, and have to undecide them and then redecide them. And
So I'm automatically making you, I have to convince you that this is best for you. You're going to get more money. Now, some people get that vision. Some people don't, depending on their experience. Some people don't get it.
Nope.
Okay. So what's the best way to penetrate that? To give you a cash offer. Here's how much I will give you for cash. I'll give you $105,000. And all of those things that we were talking about, the tells, show up immediately. They start twitching. Their head drops off their shoulders and rolls on the floor. I mean, I kid you not. It's amazing when you give that low offer, which is why we've talked about for many podcasts, if it's not uncomfortable, it's not the right offer.
Yep.
So you calculate, which we have a new spreadsheet now to do that, but you calculate these 3 offers. So you give them a cash offer, and all that cash offer is for is not to have them accept it. That cash offer is not put there to have them accept it. So don't get all nervous that you're going to have to go find money if they say yes to this, because a majority of them are going to say no. The reason why the cash offer is put there is to crack the ice so they'll listen to the other 2 offers. Because if you tell them I give you 105, it automatically eliminates, well, he's not a cash buyer. Okay, well, let me listen to the other 2 offers. But if I tell you that I'm going to give you 160 and I'm going to give you monthly payments until I can pay you off, you're not listening to me because you still think you can get the 160.
Yep.
So I need to eliminate that first.
Yep.
That you're not getting 160 from me. I'm not that guy.
Yeah. That's what he's thinking in the first place. So we have to have that conversation first. That's what's in front.
Remember when I was talking about I'm not that guy?
Yeah.
That's what we said. I'm not your guy. That's why I've started so many presentations in a house that way. I'm not your guy. If you want cash, I'm not your guy. Unless you're willing to take a discount. A deep discount.
Which I spotted the last time you said it, I went, oh, wait a minute. It's okay to give that really nasty offer because just in case they say yes, it's so low that it's not going to be hard to do because it's such a sweet deal. If they say yes, you'll be able to do that because it's so sweet.
Or go sell it to somebody else.
You'll be able to
not have to come up with the cash because you're going to have a chunk of gold.
Yeah.
In a river that's a mile long with 3,000 people looking for gold, you're going to be the one that reaches your hand in the river and say, I got it!
Yeah.
And all those 3,000 people are going to say, can I buy it?
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, I want to do that too.
So make it as low as you can possibly get away with in case you get it. It'll work.
Then you give them the next offer, which is progressive. It's a little higher, which is the 130. And the way you give a rent-to-own option, a rent-to-own or a lease option is this way. And I'm going to clarify this because this has been a confusion for a lot of people. The way you give a rent-to-own or a lease option deal is this way. It has to have 15% equity and somewhere around 25% cash flow.
Yep.
Okay? So I made up numbers just to give you an example. So let's actually get a calculator. 160,000 times 85%, which is a 15%.
Leaves 15% equity.
So that's 136,000.
Right. So you
I
can
started
offer
at
that.
130 because I want to come up to 136. That's the most I could pay.
Gotcha. Yeah, come down a little bit, then move back.
If his payment is $1,500 a month, right? You multiply that by what?
75% that he gets.
Right? So $1,500 a month times 75% means you shouldn't pay more than $1,125. Which is a little hard to do. So the 25% I'm not steadfast on, but it's a good rule.
But you can also increase the rent to the buyer to pay more than the expenses, right?
Right.
You want to bring that up a little bit. That helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you're going to go, I mean, the 1,500 is not necessarily what you're going to get, but what you think you can get.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Yep.
That's a whole nother episode.
Okay.
But my point is that when we're giving these offers, do we care how much they owe?
No.
It's taking all of that away. It's simplifying this so anybody can do it.
No, you have to make the offers as to what works for you. You can't go, well, he needs this, I'll do that. Doesn't work for me. You can't. It has to work for you. So it doesn't work for you, you don't do it. If it works for you, that's your offer.
But you're making an offer to find out if it worked for them too, because it has to work for them. But your offer should start with a viable point for you.
Yeah, and if it works for them, that's strike one, strike two, you're in.
Right. Okay. Then if they want, so now you're going to stay in the deal. So the definition of staying in the deal is I have 15% equity and somewhere around 25% cash flow.
Yep.
Could it be 20%? That's fine. Could it be 15%? That's up to you. I wouldn't go much lower than that. Point is you have to have money in the deal. Because what will happen is your first deal, if you're a virgin, you'll go after anything, right? It doesn't matter, right? And later on you'll regret that decision. Okay, so stay away from that if you could. So listen to my math.
Yep.
Okay, then a slot deal, which is a sandwich lease option transfer, right? Simply means that you're going to sell for the 160. You're not going to sell for 160. You're probably going to sell for 170.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get down payment money that you're going to keep.
Yep.
And you're going to transfer that deal to your buyer.
Yep.
So he gets 160 and he wants his $1,500 a month. You can't make any money. So what you're going to do is you're going to inflate the price, because if a buyer wants to pay on payments, he knows he's got to pay more. That's just a law.
Yeah.
Not a law, but it's like a rule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
It's common sense.
It's common
really.
sense. Yep.
We'll call that a rule of thumb.
A rule of thumb. There you go. Yeah. So what happens is he's willing to pay the 170,
Mm-hmm.
give you 10 grand down. So now he owes the seller 160.
Which is what he wanted, so he'll get it.
Right. So technically you bought an option agreement from your seller for $100 and you sold it to your buyer for $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here's the bombshell. If you're talking to somebody on the phone, or if you're texting them, or somebody wants an offer, you give them these 3 offers. You send them a letter saying, it was good to speak to you today. I really like your house, whatever you're going to put in the personalized letter.
Mm-hmm.
You give them a letter of intent with these 3 offers in it. And then go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff and download the lease option explain document. It's 5 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that in the envelope with your offers.
Mm-hmm.
And you mail them or email them. I prefer not to email them. I prefer to mail them so that they're hard copy and they're on their desk, because there's not many people that do direct mail anymore. So getting something in the mailbox is a little bit exciting still.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how things flip?
Yeah.
Back to mail.
So mail them. I prefer you mail them a hard copy
Mm-hmm.
of the "was nice talking to you" letter,
Mm-hmm.
the letter of intent with the 3 offers that we just talked about, and the frequently asked questions on my free stuff page.
Yep.
Lease option explained. Just go download it.
Well, you know what's crazy about this? This is exactly what people want when you talk to them on the phone.
Yeah.
They want the offers.
Right.
They don't want like, well, we could do this and that. They just tell me. So you just tell them. But we were trying to tell one offer, but you give them 3 and they get to pick one.
Right.
And we really don't care which one it is if the numbers are right.
You're 100% correct, except I'm not 100% sure you know what you're saying. So
well,
let's
that's not
dissect it.
what's new about what's not new about that.
So let's dissect
What?
it for a second.
Yeah.
So by sending them the offer, we're going to find out what are we
Well,
convincing
first
them?
thing, no, you're going to find out if they're willing to play or not.
Are they in our congregation now?
Yeah.
Are they talking our language?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, what happens?
The end of story.
So you call them up. So you send this offer out, and you call them up 3, 4, 5 days later and say, "What'd you think?"
Mm-hmm.
And you know exactly whether you have to convince them or they're on the same page.
Yep.
And here's the news flash. Most of them are not going to be on the same page. But at this particular point, how much work did you actually do?
We didn't even go look at the house, did we?
No.
Because we didn't buy it yet either, did
So
we?
let's handle that, because some people on this podcast are going to think, well, how could you make an offer on a house? Well, here's the deal. When you go out and look at the house,
Mm-hmm.
you'll change your offer.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sign the lease and the option. You just gave them an offer.
Mm-hmm.
So if their data changes, your offer changes.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being 160, now it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And the magic to that is when we started last year, when I started talking about selling houses that need repairs on handyman specials.
Mm-hmm.
That changed my business, because I was renovating them. So
Yeah.
now you don't need to have, as long as the house is livable, you can do a lease option or a slot deal. If
Yeah.
it's not, you just tell them if you get out there and the house is destroyed, you tell them, okay, well, this is my cash offer. It's the only way I can buy the house. You become the reluctant buyer. Either they agree or they don't agree. Most importantly, you now have a steady flow of offers. That I'm having trouble getting coaching clients to make offers.
Right.
This is going to end that. And the program I'm going to do in January is where I actually do a screen share with my clients, and there's only 15 that are going to be in there, plus a couple coaching clients. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to go onto Zillow and on a few other websites and find these deals. Actually figure out where where in your neighborhood, where's the best place to buy and sell houses, because it's the most amount of houses being bought and sold, which I've been teaching that for years.
Yeah.
Right. So and we got a little different twist to it, because Joe McCall showed me how to do it a different way. So I'm going to do his way but the rest of it is mine. Right. So you go figure out where the hottest area is in your neighborhood or your city or your county, and you go do business there. Why? Because you don't want to get stuck with a deal.
So they're selling in that area.
Yeah.
So if you buy in that area, you should sell it in that area.
That's right.
It should sell.
Then you get on. Then you get on any one of the websites, RealQuest or Zillow or whatever. You find a couple deals. You text them, right? Which we didn't even cover that. There's 3 questions you text them, right? And you find out if they're the owner and if they're willing to sell, and would they be willing to rent to you for, until you can buy it off in a year or 2. And if all those are yes, then you send them this other script that we're talking about. You get on the phone with them. You have a short conversation with them, right? And you say, no problem. I'll send you the offer.
Yep.
And you're done.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say a little while ago. When you're at this point, they just want to see offers and stuff instead of like, well, I could, maybe this. I got to come look and never mind. But I just send the offers. They're like, okay, go ahead.
And the reason why that's right, and the reason why it's so important is because I've had so many coaching clients tell me that they're like they want me to send them something.
Yeah.
So we had been sending them the how to buy real estate, how to
the lease explained
lease option explained form. Yeah. What we weren't doing was just sending the offers.
Yeah. Which was what the first, you always say it's the first thing they want to do, but haven't figured out, well, how do you do that? We haven't done this and that. We'll send 3. And we usually don't do 3 at once, but what the hell?
Right. Yeah. Because the 3 offers you're going to give them, anybody could do. You could do this in your own backyard. You could do this across the country. You could do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy paperwork. It's easy to do. You don't put your name on the deed. It's risk-free. It's got every advantage in the world to anybody that wants to do real estate. It is the new way to do real estate. Just like I, with my coach, Will, have created the anti-course program. And the reason why I say that is because this new internship that I'm going to do on Monday, we're going to do a screen share. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to actually give some basic information about what we're going to do that week, which won't take that long. It's not like a whole lecture, but it's just some basic things you need to know. On Wednesday, we're going to do a screen share again, and I'm going to actually show you how I do it. I'm going to go looking for deals myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how I do it. And then on Friday, I'm going to ask you to do it while I watch you. Because too many universities feel like if you want to get a certificate from us, just memorize all of our materials and give it back to us on a test. And if you answer the questions correctly, we'll give you a certification or a graduation.
Yep. What's wrong with this picture?
Personally, if I'm going to teach somebody how to fix a car, right? The test should be, here's a broken car, make it run.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm going to approach this anti-online course is on Friday, you're going to have to show me what you learned on Monday and Wednesday. I want to see you do it. And if you can't do it, I'm going to fix you right there and then. And if I can't fix you, that's another story. But I have 100% confidence I can because I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So then we're going to move on to the next topic on Friday. And by the end of the month, which is 4 weeks, this is in January 2020, okay? The 4 weeks is going to get you to a point where you're going to actually, and I'm no secret here, you're going to actually be getting leads and want me to coach you. Because quite frankly, and you know me, Peter, I have decided in 2020 I'm going to expand, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do deals with partners around the country. Yep. Ron LeGrand did it. I can do. Than Merrill does it, I can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Joe McCall does it, I can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Roop does it, I can do it too.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to make it easier. I'm going to make my business easier for me. So I have more time to do what I want to do, which is some of the coaching and just other things in life.
Yep.
Right?
I think it's beautiful from the student aspect because that's actually my personal business model, working with you, partnering with you.
Right.
Because I'd rather have 2 deals with you, and I think you'd rather have 2 deals with me than no deals or 1 deal alone.
That's right.
It still works out. So the problem with people have with this is doing any damn deal.
Right.
So do deals with Bill.
So the intention of this, to your point, the intention of this internship,
Yeah.
or it's actually an apprenticeship, is because it's the first step, because I don't know where this is going to take me. I don't know. I just know what I want in 2020. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
My first step is to actually train some students or some potential students on being my assistant around the country or getting in deals with me. So I'm going to start with, you pay me the money, right? Which is not a lot, to get in the internship. And then I watch you, you watch me. And if at the end we decide we want to do a deal together, then that's what we do. Mm-hmm. If we don't, then we part as friends.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of information on how you could do it without me.
Yeah. No, there's a few people that have some background, some history, some experience, and they probably do fine on their own.
Right.
But for the guy who doesn't get anything done, you're really screwed. Yeah. You need to get something done.
I have a coaching client that's actually going to have his assistant on the calls. I'm going to teach her how to do it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's right. Your wife's going to be on the calls.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not here to pitch that. I mean, if you want to figure out what that is, I don't know when you listen to this recording. Probably by the time you listen to this recording, it's probably going to be all over. Yeah. But maybe we do it again. I don't know. Yeah. But the URL is flippinghouses4rookies.com/internship. So if you think for 1 second you want somebody to hold your hand, this is it. Mm. Okay? And I'm not going to walk you through the whole deal, but I'm going to show you how to get it, find it, and structure it.
Yeah.
Okay? So, how to beat the blues, the bad news blues. The direct answer is have deals in the pipeline. Give lots of offers, like I just showed you or just talked about. I didn't show you. I talked about how you need to do it. Give lots of offers so that when somebody says, no, I don't want to do it, you think to yourself, oh, good, I can work on the other ones.
Didn't like that one anyway.
Yeah. I have more time to deal with the other ones. And even if you do feel down about it, all you need to do is just get your deal envelope and work on one of the other deals that you have, and within 5 minutes, you'll forget about it. Mm-hmm. Or by the end of the day, you'll forget about it. Mm-hmm. It won't be as impinging. Like, some of my coaching clients, if they only have one deal and they're working on it for 3 months and they say no, it sticks around for days.
Oh, no, that's too much scarcity.
Yeah.
For too long. No.
Right. So, please give me what?
Reviews.
Yes, we need some reviews. I prefer them to be on iTunes, but give them to me wherever you listen. If you're on Stitcher or Google Play or any one of the other platforms, I don't know all of them. The syndication company does. Please go give us reviews. If you want to know how to do that, go to Flipping Houses for Rookies, top right-hand side. It says podcast. If you click on that podcast button, it will. There's a big red button there that says iTunes reviews, so you can go there. Also, I never talk about this, and I decided I'm going to talk about it more. If you go to flippinghouses4rookies.com, the top right-hand side where the links are, there's only 4 or 5 links there. It says proof it works. We actually have software where you could actually either type in a testimonial, or you can actually hit the button on your computer and record a testimonial, and it instantly puts it on our testimonial page. So if you're one of those people that are out there that have done a deal, or you really like us and you really want to help us promote this podcast, which would be awesome, just go to flippinghouses4rookies.com. The top right-hand side, hit the link that says Proof It Works and do a video. I would frickin' love that.
Yeah.
2 reasons. Number one, I get a lot of support tickets, and I have conversations with people. I have no idea what they look like. I've never met them. And I'll have week-long conversations with these people. I can't tell you how excited I get when these people come to a meetup or I do a one-on-one with them with a screen share, and I get to see their face and they become real to me.
Yeah.
Instead of just a support ticket.
Yeah, because they know what you look like.
Yeah, they know what I look like, but I don't know who they are. So when you go to Proof It Works, there's a whole bunch of testimonials. In fact, we have so many testimonials that Emma is having problems with the page because it takes too long to load. So when you go there, you have to wait a minute or so for it to load because there's so many videos there. Okay. And we have more videos to upload, and we can't do it because we have too many videos on there already.
You have too much content, Mr. Hawthorne.
Too many testimonials.
Too many testimonials.
So, because we get them from the meetup and everything else. So, but you can go add yourself to that page if you so desire. That would thrill me to death to hear your testimonial and give me feedback. Okay? With that said, we're over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.